Did the Rams have a great or overrated offseason?
I don't know how it could be overrated. I absolutely don't know how.
Let's get into it.
Drew, you and Joel are the Rams guys on this table. And whichever one of you guys want to go first, you guys can have the entire floor.
Say no more. I thought it was fantastic, right? You get the best wide receiver option available on the free agent market in Allen Robinson. Even after losing Corbett and Whitworth, you still have a solid to borderline great offensive line. The only person I'm looking at on this offensive line is their right guard. I'll get his name right quick. His name is Bobby Evans. He could be better. Other than that, everyone else is a solid offensive lineman. And now their front seven, where you do lose Von Miller, now you have Floyd, who can focus on being a pass rusher, who just recently had 9.5 sacks this past season, and Bobby Wagner, who is the best middle linebacker in the football league. Excuse me.
He's not better than Fred Warner.
No, I'll take Bobby any day of the week.
Nope.
Over Fred Warner?
He's
I'm
not
taking
better than
Bobby.
Fred Warner.
We're talking about someone that if you need a tackle, there is 100% chance that Bobby is going to tackle him.
Well, he's tackling because he gives up a lot of catches.
And what does that matter to me when he's going to be one of the best run stuffing?
Bobby's top 5. I would take Fred Warner.
He's
just
top,
more versatile.
Top 5?
Yeah.
That's rude.
Darius Leonard's up there too.
I'm taking Bobby.
Right now, I'm
taking Warner and
Bobby
Darius
Wagner's.
Bobby just led the league in tackles.
I know.
Leading league in tackles doesn't really mean much. Blake Martinez did it for multiple years.
I don't think it's the end all be all. Yeah.
I mean, regardless
That's
of that
an
fact,
overrated stat when it
really
pertains to
interesting.
linebacker play.
No. That's very interesting, especially on converting tackles because he doesn't miss.
He
tackles.
doesn't miss tackles. No.
He actually just had his highest missed percentage tackles of his career.
Really, and how much was that? If you could tell me,
Something stupid low.
He missed what, 2 tackles this season?
14 missed tackles.
That's a lot. I'm shocked actually. Now, regardless of that fact, I still look at this team and I look at the additions that they made. You lose Robert Woods in a trade to the Titans. You're probably going to lose Odell Beckham, which is going to hurt. But you know what? How you make up with it? You go and you get Allen Robinson. And now you're going to lose Von Miller, but now you have Floyd, who has that ability to transfer over into being an edge and getting to the quarterback. You add Bobby Wagner to the mix. Their front seven is still scary. You lose Von Miller, that's obviously going to hurt, but their front seven is still scary. The one concern I do have is their secondary. You lose Williams to free agency. He wasn't amazing for you, but he was a solid option for you. They tested him, and he did his job. He wasn't great. He was barely good, but he did his job. And it helps when you have the best cornerback in football on your team in Jalen Ramsey. I look at this team, and you had to extend Matthew Stafford. It was a no-brainer. He just is coming off a Super Bowl after his first year with the team. It was expected that he was going to get a contract. Some of us thought that he wouldn't do that. It was pretty shocking to me personally. However, to each their own, I understand. But I'm looking at this team, and there's such a strong chance that they could still repeat as champions.
I wouldn't say this offseason was great or overrated. I think the Rams did enough. You know, they're obviously Super Bowl champions. They have one of the most stacked rosters in the NFL. And with all of this talent they have, I know it seems like they have unlimited money. They weren't going to be able to bring everyone back. They did lose a ton of starters. Von Miller, Robert Woods, Darius Williams, Austin Corbett, Sebastian Joseph Day, and Johnny Hecker, their punter, who's been one of the better punters in the NFL over these last few seasons. They did replace Robert Woods / Odell with Allen Robinson, who has more in the tank than I think both of those guys, especially with Robert Woods, both of them coming off torn ACLs. Brought in Bobby Wagner, you mentioned. I still think he's one of the better linebackers in the NFL. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm still taking a few guys over him, extending Matt Stafford. All in all, it was an offseason that the Rams did enough. They made enough moves, upgraded some positions, that they're going to be able to probably still win the division, even though I think it's still going to be competitive with the 49ers there as well as the Cardinals. Even though I'm projecting right now the Rams to win the division, they did enough to be able to compete in a pretty weak NFC. If they were in the AFC, maybe it's a bit of a different conversation where I'm saying you have to go and make a couple more moves to really put yourself over the hump. But the only team the Rams really have to compete with is going to be the Bucs. With Tom Brady back, I know we're going to get into it a little bit more, but with the moves, or at least the re-signings they made, bringing in Russell Gage, they kind of are similar. The Rams just lost more, I would say, than the Buccaneers did this past offseason. But the Rams did enough to, I think, be favorites, at least in the NFC. And that's all you can ask for. They didn't have all of the money in the world to bring all of these guys back. They had to extend Stafford. They knew they were going to be losing, or they ended up losing Robert Woods once they brought in Allen Robinson. So they made enough moves to at least put themselves afloat. But I think all of the people who look at this offseason and say it was an A+ are just looking at the big names. I think they're looking at Bobby Wagner and Allen Robinson being like, the Rams hit it out of the park. But when you really go and you lose 6-7 starters, which every Super Bowl team is going to lose, it's hard for me to sit here and be like they had a great offseason. I think they did more than enough to compete, but I'm not looking at this saying that this was the best offseason that any team had.
Who did you lose if you're the Rams that you're losing sleep over?
Von Miller hurts.
Floyd is a great replacement for that.
I know,
He's
but
not a replacement, though. He was there.
he was there.
He's
yeah.
taking Von Miller's spot over.
Darius Williams hurts.
No, he wasn't, though, because they were all three of them.
I understand,
played
but
at
now
the same
Bobby
time.
is now going to be the middle linebacker that allows Floyd to play on the line. Go ahead, though.
Wait, what do you mean?
Bobby
Be a
is
pass
going
rusher?
to exactly.
But he was a pass rusher.
Wait,
last year.
Leonard Floyd was a pass rusher
Yeah.
the
My
entire year.
I understand that, but before they got yeah,
No, Von Miller was just opposite of Floyd.
I understand. I'm
both
confused.
edge.
I'm confused. My wording's confusing me. But go ahead.
Darius Williams starting corner. Austin Corbett starting offensive line.
That doesn't hurt too bad.
Sebastian Joseph Day starting interior defensive lineman.
That hurts,
Johnny
but
Hacker,
even still,
good
you
punter.
still have the best interior defensive lineman there is in the game.
Yeah, you do. Johnny Hacker, good punter.
Anybody you put on that line next to Aaron Donald's going to have success.
Yeah,
That's
because he's going to
simple.
get one-on-one blocks or whatever.
Yes, if you are on a line with Aaron Donald, you are getting one-on-one. Correct.
Yeah. I mean, they made good replacements with Allen Robinson and with Bobby Wagner, without a doubt. I just don't look at this saying that, did they get better this offseason?
I mean, if they're exactly the same, right? Let's say that's the case.
That's what I'm saying.
They can go to the Super Bowl.
I think best case scenario, they about to stay the same. I don't know if they made a huge upgrade because the way Odell was looking, I mean, I think Allen Robinson's probably going to do about the same. I'm not sure if he's going to be much better.
Wouldn't
if you have
you be
a healthy,
ecstatic with that?
Of course I would, but I look what Odell did, or any wide receiver too, even with Robert Woods. A healthy Robert Woods or what Odell was looking like, I don't think it's Allen Robinson's that much better. Like,
I don't
it might
disagree.
be marginal, and Bobby Wagner is obviously an upgrade at linebacker without a doubt.
For sure.
I don't have him as the best linebacker in the league, though.
Listen, when you're on the Seahawks and you don't have motivation to play at the level
This was
that
really
you
the
did,
first year that they weren't good.
no, for sure.
Jordan Brooks was better than him last year.
And that doesn't mean anything to me coming into this next season. Because now he's going to be on a team that he's actually going to be motivated and he's going to be playing at a high level again.
I don't know. You watch Bobby Wagner play, the same speed isn't there.
It's just, this is his first season. Even still, again, you guys aren't going to look at most tackles in the league, whatever you want to say. Now he's going to be in a situation where now he's going to be motivated every single Sunday because he's on a team
But he's
with
always
a different
motivated.
culture. Last season, there was
Also,
when
when did Russ got hurt? Like week 6, 7?
but the team was just on a downward trend.
I know, but Bobby Wagner seemed like the type of guy to check out.
I don't disagree.
You know?
Maybe the same drive wasn't there, though.
Yeah, I mean, going to the Rams isn't going to hurt him. Hurt his drive, actually. Like he's going to go
Listen,
to a
the
Super Bowl
Seahawks
type
weren't giving him
team.
his money. Now he's going to the team in division. Now he's going to play that team twice a year. He's just playing with a chip on his shoulder now.
In terms of PFF grading, Bobby Wagner was 15th in the league. Micah Parsons was over him. Devondre Campbell, Alexander Johnson, Fred Warner, Pete Werner on the Saints, Darius Leonard.
Listen, this is all gravy to me.
Demario
it doesn't matter
Davis.
to me.
Is Bobby Wagner gonna be better than Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah next year?
I'm telling you right now, Bobby Wagner, without a doubt, should be at
They're
minimum
doing
the top
different
5.
things. JOK is going to be able to
Is he better?
sideline cover.
Right now, he's not better than Levante
I'm just
David.
glad that this is a name that this is who you're sleeping on, Bobby Wagner. That's
Bobby Wagner's
great.
a stud, but it's also like a middle linebacker.
I understand who's arguably the most important piece of a defense.
He's not better than Levante David.
He's the
It's
leader of the
probably
defense.
in terms of like making adjustments and play calling, sure. But edge and lockdown corner is probably more important than
but you
linebacker.
said the best. He's not better than Micah Parsons.
He's not.
Micah Parsons is not a middle linebacker.
Yes, he is.
He does everything. It's
Yeah.
hard to compare
And
Bobby
Dallas
Wagner
doesn't-
to
they-
But
Micah.
most of his
It's hard
snaps
to
came
compare
at
anyone to
linebacker.
Micah.
It was actually half and half
It was pretty much
made the
50-50.
All-Pro as a linebacker.
because there was a lot of great. And
Okay.
he needed to make the
You
All-Pro.
can't compare Bobby to Micah. They do different things.
Correct.
No, Micah does the same thing Bobby does, but he can also be an edge and be one of the best in the league at it.
Bobby's going to be an elite run defender. He's not an elite pass defender
Micah
anymore.
is both.
He is. Micah's one
No,
of the best
no,
linebackers
that's what I'm
in the
saying.
league.
Micah is better than Bobby Wagner
I
right
would
now.
much rather have Micah
Warner
than
is
Bobby.
better than
'Cause
him
he
right
can
now.
pass rush, correct.
Levante David is better than Bobby Wagner right now.
I don't know about that.
Levante David, you talking about the guy who in 2020 covered
Can we
Travis,
not talk about
Travis
Bobby
Kelce?
Wagner like he's a scrub?
I'm not talking about, but Levante David in
'Cause
2020
coverage-
covered
so-
every single great tight end in the playoffs and locked them down.
I understand what you're saying. So coverage is what's separating this from you.
Yes, coverage is one of the most important things right now for a linebacker in the league.
But Bobby
He
has
was not
solidified
better.
himself.
He was not better than Devondre Campbell last year,
Bobby Wagner has been a consistent All-Pro player for however many years.
who
and
has
so-
dropped off in coverage
because of
significantly.
one season.
No, it hasn't been just one season. He's dropped off in coverage for
All right,
a couple now.
give your point. Let's stop talking about Bobby Wagner, please.
Of course, the
'Cause
Rams
I
got
don't know
worse.
how you could slip on him.
And
But worse. How?
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the favorites in the NFC right now, and there's no doubt about it.
Heard that before.
Yeah, you did. And for me, in 2019 when they won, no, 2020 when they won. Last year, I I wasn't sold on the Bucs once. You guys know
You're
that.
a liar. That was your pick to
No.
come out of the NFC, and then you switched it to the Green Bay Packers. You refused. I'll never forget.
Because I couldn't set my mind on the team. But I told you guys all year, before going into the playoffs, I said I can't trust the chemistry, the continuity with the Bucs. Something seems off. This year, it feels like things are back, rejuvenated. We're going to talk about the Bucs next segment. They're my early favorites to make it out the NFC. You are downplaying the losses of the Rams so much, and I don't understand why.
Let's hear which
For
ones.
one, Von Miller is a huge loss. Darius Williams is a huge loss. Austin Corbett is a huge loss. Andrew Whitworth is a huge loss.
They still have a solid offensive line, though.
Andrew Whitworth was the best pass-protecting
There's
left
awesome.
tackle in
There's
the
two
NFL,
offensive line
and now
starters.
you're counting on Joseph Noteboom, who had one good game in the playoffs, to now take control of an all-pro left tackle. Like, the offensive line is going to drop off. Sebastian Joseph Day, you didn't just lose Von Miller. You lost Sebastian Joseph Day and Von Miller.
I have Aaron Donald.
And
It doesn't matter who I put on
and
that
you
line.
lost Okoronkwo, who was a good rotational pass rusher, who had
He
2
was solid.
sacks, 2 forced fumbles this past season. Robert Woods, Odell Beckham, gone. Maybe Odell comes back, maybe he doesn't, but both of them are gone. Allen Robinson is coming off his worst career season that he's ever had. 410 yards in 12 games. That's the worst of his career. Bobby Wagner, you're right. 170 tackles. That's a career high. But tackles is a misleading stat when evaluating linebackers because most of it happens because they give up catches. He had a 98.2 passer rating when targeted. Quarterbacks feasted on Bobby Wagner all season long. 14 missed tackles, second highest missed tackle percentage of his entire career. And the Rams were one of the more healthier teams last season. The Rams are a team that don't have depth. One of these stars go down, that's a major, major, major loss for the Rams, and you can't always count on your team to be so healthy. The Rams are one to two injuries away from, I would even say, missing the playoffs.
Oof.
So I'll tell you this. What's funny about you lose Robert Woods, you lose Odell. One thing happened. Odell came in. Robert Woods was out. Torn ACL. So
I would
they
say
never,
1 or 2 main injuries away.
They never had that luxury of having all 3 in that one
They
time.
have Stafford, Cup, Donald, bro, Jalen. They'll make the playoffs.
They're copacetic. It doesn't matter.
So you're saying if Cup goes down for significant
No,
time,
I said Cup.
if you lose,
I said Stafford,
yeah, come
Cup,
on.
Donald, and
that's what I'm saying.
Jalen.
I said a significant one of those guys.
Oh, well, you could say that about damn near
Any
every team.
team. Any
Well,
team.
the Bucks last year lost Godwin for a significant period of time. They lost also.
They didn't. He went out in week 17. Godwin went out late.
AB was hurt throughout the majority
Also,
of the season.
but he went out week 16 against Jets, 17, whatever it was.
The Bucks were injured all season long.
They were also in a terrible division.
Okay, but they were injured all season long, so that helps my point. So they were injured all season long, and they didn't finish the greatest end of the season. They kind of barely scraped into the playoffs.
Yeah, and they
like
lost
we knew
round 2.
we knew it was comfortable because of the division, but the Rams in that division, if they have one of their main guys go down, that could be it.
Even still, though, you look at that division, the Seahawks are going to be the worst they've ever been in since the Russell Wilson got drafted there.
Okay, but
You
that's
had-
the only
Who
team.
knows with San Fran with Trey Lance?
I love Trey Lance, but also, yeah, first year starting a quarterback. I mean, they just went to the NFC Championship game, and the Cardinals, who have historically, with Cliff Kingsbury, have fallen off.
But also started off hot, and they played the Rams well.
They did.
Outside of the playoff game,
Exactly,
they
playoff
played the
game got
Rams
smoked.
well. The Niners played the Rams well. So like these are all possibilities. I'm just saying all these losses are huge.
I wouldn't
2022,
say huge.
2022
Not
to me, it's just for the Rams, and that's for most teams in the NFL. It depends on health. If their stars stay healthy, I think they will easily get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're not my favorites. Right now, Green Bay has a lot to prove. You look at the NFC East, you don't really fear a team there. The NFC West, Arizona, you can't trust. It's really the 49ers and the Rams. And then you look at the NFC South, it's just Tampa Bay. I will say, the Vikings are a lot closer to the Rams than you think. It's not that far off. And right now, I'm picking the Vikings to win the NFC North. If they can solidify that corner position, I'm telling you, the Vikings, because of how weak the NFC is, they're not far off from being a top 3 team in the conference. They're not.
Big wait and see. Big wait and see, because I've heard expectations on Minnesota's name for a while, not just from you, and I'm not trying to take a shot at you. I'm just speaking honestly, generally.
Okay, you're right, but let's just go over it right now. In terms of a better weapons group, Vikings or Rams, who has it?
You got to rely on Adam Thielen, and that's tough because at this point he's getting old. He's
Over
gotten
Allen
hurt.
Robinson? He's definitely over Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson's going to be fine. He's going to have 1,000
That's the
yards,
thing.
7
He's with
touchdowns.
Matthew
Okay, but
Stafford
he's gonna have
now.
that-
Adam
1,000 yards,
Thielen is
7.
better than him.
I don't know about
they're the
like
same.
yeah, it's pretty close. It's pretty
Okay,
close.
but I'm just asking.
They're the
Jettas
same.
and Cup, I would take probably Jettas skill wise, longevity wise,
Again,
but
well,
even still toss
offense,
up.
Dalvin,
Toss up.
Jettas, Thielen.
Yes, Dalvin, you have the
Dalvin
obvious
separates,
advantage
yeah.
there. And you
Okay.
have Stafford, who I'm taking over Kirk.
Easy.
The offensive line for the Rams clears.
Agreed.
I think secondary for the Rams clears.
Correct.
Linebackers, I think for the Eric Hendricks,
Yeah,
It's not Bobby.
I
though.
think I'd probably say Vikings a little
It's
bit
not
by
Bobby.
a little bit of an edge.
that's close.
The defensive line depth, I think Vikings have that with Daniil Hunter, Dalvin Tomlinson. They just signed, I think, this guy Harrison Phillips from Buffalo, who's one of the better run defenders in football last season. So Darius Smith, who's an All-Pro when healthy.
Za'Darius was a big get for them for sure. That definitely helps their depth. But I don't care how basic I sound when I say this. So long as I have Aaron Donald on my line, it does not matter who I put on the side of me, they're going to get to the quarterback. Because you look at what happened with Cleveland and Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, where Jadeveon Clowney is just coming off a career high in sacks. That's because Myles Garrett allows a lot of attention to go to him and not to the other guys on the line.
Yep.
It's that simple to
And
me.
Patrick Peterson is coming back to the
What do you
Vikings.
say the Rams, or who's your if the Bucks are your favorite? Who's number 2? Is it not the Rams?
It's the Rams.
Okay.
I
So
think
what,
number.
what, are we,
I
what are we
think
talking about here?
right now.
But there's a chance that
You
if
said
they
they could
lose
miss
their
it.
star... Breaking
Yeah,
news.
bro.
Team loses best player, they might not make the
three,
playoffs.
my top three in the NFC right now is early NFC right now is Bucks, Rams, Vikings. But I don't. It's not a shocker if the Vikings can go over the Rams because let's say they do draft Derek Stingley and he plays like his freshman year at LSU and now they have a lockdown corner. Now you have Pat Pete with Stingley. Cameron Dancer came on strong last year. Harrison Smith is still there. Jordan Hicks, Eric Hendricks,
But you have to make
Darius
that
Smith.
same argument for anything
Daniil
you say about the
Hunter.
Rams. Whoever they get or whoever they're expecting to step up, what if they step up and they're phenomenal? What if Allen Robinson gets back to his prime?
You want to know? There's a difference. The difference is that the Rams aren't going to have a top 15 pick in the draft.
You're right.
Like the Vikings. That's why I mentioned Derek Stingley because they can get a blue chip prospect with that.
Okay,
pick.
what if Cam Akers comes back and he's the Cam Akers we saw in
He's not
2020?
Dalvin Cook.
What if Allen Robinson returns to prime
Daryl-
Allen Robinson's top 15 receiver?
And we can't ignore that.
He's not Adam Thielen.
Who?
Adam Thielen is better than Allen Robinson.
It's not that far, bro.
and I'm taking Kirk.
Allen
who.
Robinson
That's
had
the-
one bad year.
And that is, of all the things you've said
It's
right
the
now,
worst.
the dumbest thing you've said.
That's my captain.
He's cool, I guess. Barely.
He's like John Cena.
I
His
would
time
never
is
actually.
now.
I completely regret saying that. There's no way I could classify Kirk anywhere near the word cool. Maybe the coolest thing he's ever said was ooey, and you like that.
You like that is up there for sure.
Kirk Cousins. That's my captain.
You got to put
He's selling
respect on
the
Allen
shit.
Robinson's name. Other than last year, he's been consistent as hell with terrible quarterbacks. Blake Bortles, I mean, Nick Foles, Andy Dalton.
Adam Thielen had his best year of his career with Case Keenum.
Case Keenum had Allen Robinson never had a year with a guy like Case Keenum.
No, Case Keenum is not better than any quarterback Allen Robinson has had. Case Keenum's not better than Mitch Trubisky. I don't care how bad you think Trubisky is.
Case Keenum was phenomenal the one year he started in Minnesota. He was phenomenal.
Robinson's best season, at least in the past 4 years, has been 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns in 2020 with the Bears.
That was literally 2 years ago. The Bears didn't target him last season. He had his career low in
Because
targets.
they didn't want to pay him. It was that simple. They didn't want to pay him.
That was
Terrible.
why.
He should've traded
So
him.
Fields, a rookie quarterback, was like, I'm not going to throw it to you because I don't want to pay you.
Maybe.
He got no targets. It was mind-boggling. But 1,200. What did you say?
Thielen
1,200
had
yards
14
and 6?
touchdowns in 2020.
How many yards?
He had 926.
He was a touchdown machine.
Yeah, he's been a touchdown machine.
That's because, last year he played 13 games, had 726 yards. 2020 he played 15. 2019
Who do you think
he
has
played
better
10.
numbers next year, A-Rob or Thielen? Oh, well, let's throw a little friendly bet.
I'll actually bet I would lean Allen Robinson because I think
This
Matt
guy
Stafford's better.
loves to do
Bro
stuff
said,
like
"Oh,
that.
the
But I'm
Rams
just
might miss
saying,
the playoffs,
bro,
but they're
I'm
my
just
second
saying.
seed right now."
If we're going off right now in recent history,
I told y'all.
if we're going off of recent history, then bro, either way though. If you think A-Rob is better than Thielen, okay, that's whatever. I think Dalvin,
Yes,
Thielen,
Dalvin clears.
Justin Jefferson is better than Kupp, Robinson, and Akers or whoever running back they have.
Yeah, when you throw Akers in there, yes, I
and
agree.
Irv Smith is coming back.
Irv Smith is coming back.
Yeah,
Higbee,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Put some respect on Skull Nation.
What about Chris Herndon?
Chris Herndon?
He's done.
He's probably done.
Hate to see
And
it.
that offensive line's getting better for the Vikings. Don't sleep. Don't sleep.
I like the Vikings. I think they could win the division too. The Packers, if they don't make it,
This is
they're
their
going
best
to make
chance.
moves at
This is
receiver.
their best chance.
But if they don't, I think at 22 the Packers go on receiver. They have
That's
to.
my captain.